Hi, have you ever wondered to yourself, I want to become a therapist. Why do I need to take research methods and statistics for psychology? Well, in this video, we are going to unpack the purpose of understanding research methods and understanding statistics and how that will translate well into the career of becoming a therapist and also help you in grad school. So to start off, here are some of the common misconceptions of taking research methods and statistical methods. You don't need to learn to write research papers and run research studies unless you are interested in becoming a researcher. I will need to remember all this when I go to grad school. Taking those classes won't translate skills to the real world. You don't need to learn about different statistical analysis in the profession. These are useless classes that you will forget about in the career. Do these all hold true? Why not? The role of research in mental health clinical training. So why do we need to understand how research studies are done? We need to understand the why and how for these research studies, as that will translate into our career as a licensed therapist. Why do we need to learn and understand the format of research articles? Well, in grad school, you'll be expected to read lots and lots of research articles, right? And you'll also be expected to interpret these research articles and apply it to real-world examples. Why do we need to write our own research papers and come up with a research question? In research methods, you're asked to write a research paper, and also you'll asked to come up with your own research question, right? What is the need for that? In grad school, especially if you're considering applying to clinical doctorate programs, which are only focused on clinical and not research, you will still be expected to write a dissertation and defend it. So the skills that you have developed in undergrad will be able to translate well in grad school. If you are even considering master's programs, there is still lots of writing to be done. So to have that training and skills on an undergrad will only benefit you in grad school. And according to Dan Bates, as clinicians, we often rely on our training, experience, and intuition to make decisions. However, it's essential to recognize that our perceptions are inherently limited and can be biased. Human reasoning, while valuable, is not infallible and can lead us astray. For instance, confirmation bias, the tendency to search for or interpret information in a way that confirms our preconceptions, can significantly impact clinical judgments. Therefore, it's crucial to complement our intuition with empirical evidence from social science research. In other words, understanding these research articles will benefit us in our profession as a therapist, as all the practices that are done as a therapist are all evidence-based, meaning that you do need to look in the literature a lot to understand which practices you may use, what works, what will be beneficial for your client. And now to switch gears and talk about statistics. Why do we need to learn to understand how to interpret the data in research articles? Being able to accurately interpret the data will help you build conclusions on what you're reading. These skills will translate well because you will need to do the same in applying it to the clients you see as a therapist and figuring out what practices have been used and what works. Why do we need to understand different statistical tests? And how does that translate to the role of a licensed therapist? Understanding the why for using certain statistical tests is crucial, as each test answers a specific type of research question. For a licensed therapist, this understanding will translate well into evidence-based practice. Therapists rely on research, they rely on the data to choose which interventions will work, evaluate the effectiveness of treatments, and understand what approaches work best for particular disorders. So you can see here, being able to understand different statistical tests will be a skill that you will gain later and will apply into your role as a therapist, as you will be able to accurately identify which interventions will be useful and what works. Do we even need statistics in grad school? Yes, you will definitely need a lot of statistics in grad school. And statistics is involved in research, right? And in grad school, you will need to take statistics and research methods, as you will need those skills when you become a therapist. How do you think the DSM-5 was created? It all has research and statistics involved, identifying which diagnoses are reliable and valid. And according to a scholarly article, an overview of commonly used statistical methods in clinical research, Sebastião and other researchers emphasize statistics is fundamental to clinical research, as it enables researchers to make informed inferences about target populations. According to that same article, they say appropriate use of statistical methods, given the types of data and assumptions involved, is important to ensure valid conclusions and correct application of research findings to clinical care. As for the need for statistics in grad school, well, if you take a look in grad school programming curriculums, you will find that these courses are actually required. And as for the DSM-5, DSM-5 actually stands for Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. There are lots of statistics involved in the DSM-5, which you will need to understand in grad school. So to have that background statistics will only be beneficial. So what does all this mean? Not only will you need the skills you learn in research statistical methods in your training to become a therapist, but you will need it in your profession as a licensed therapist. Everything that a licensed therapist does is all evidence-based and works because of the research that has been done beforehand. Recognizing the why is crucial here because it can be really beneficial and will help motivate you in understanding and implementing what you learn in the future. So the question I want to leave you all with today is, will you find motivation going forward?